Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 30th, 2014, and this is Tech Talk Today, episode 110. My name is Chris.
And I'm Angela.
Hey, Ange, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's a frozen morning today, and it's snow on Mount Rainier, so I changed our background image to reflect it. So that way you getting a little bit of the Pacific Northwest in your Tech Talk Today episode if you're watching the video version. Speaking of little bitty, our attendance in the Mumble Room is little bitty, but it's there. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Taquitos!
Taquitos. So it's the holiday week, and we actually managed to eke out a few news stories. So thanks for being here today, guys, and thanks to the chat room for joining us live. We do this show live on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern over jblive.tv. And you can join us. We have an open Mumble Room. We just check your mic to make sure it's working, and then you can comment on the stories. Our first story this week, of course, you could always go to the subreddit too, but we'd love to have you here live. Maybe you'd have some thoughts on this. Microsoft is building a brand new web browser, likely to be debuted in Windows 10.
Dabooed.
Yeah, you like that? They say this is the end of Internet Explorer.
No.
Well, it'll stick around. It'll still be there for compatibility reasons, but this is going to be a new browser.
Okay, so all of those softwares that rely and only use Internet Explorer, are they going to make their new browser use it?
No, here's what I'm going to do for you, Anne.
Or, I mean, like, compatible?
Picture me, I'm Satya Nadella. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm gonna get you a new Windows, and on this new Windows, I'm gonna get you something real nice and fast. This is new web browser we got. But I know you got work to do. You're a business lady. So I'm going to also include another web browser. I'm going to include two web browsers for the price of one web browser. I'm going to give you Internet Explorer 12 and this new web browser. Huh? How about that? Plus, then if you download Firefox, you can have 3 web browsers on your computer. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. It's going to be called Spartan. It's going to still use Microsoft's Sharaka JavaScript engine and the Trident engine that powers Internet Explorer. See, when I first saw this and I saw Spartan, I thought to myself, holy crap, Microsoft's going to do a WebKit browser. WebKit is what powers all the mobile browsers, Chrome, Safari, all that stuff's WebKit. Huge. It's bigger than Firefox. It's huge, right? Because you think about Chrome and Safari on the iPad and iPhone alone. That's all WebKit, right? And it's dwarfing IE. And people aren't writing for IE anymore. People used to make websites for Internet Explorer. Now they make websites for WebKit. So I thought, okay, so Microsoft, this is the new Microsoft. And they're seeing the way the wind's blowing, and they're going to go to WebKit now.
So something more universal.
That's what I was thinking they were going to do, but that's not what they're doing. They're going to go with the Internet Explorer rendering engine. They're going to go with Triton. It'll look and feel more like Chrome and Firefox. It's going to also support extensions.
Which Internet Explorer doesn't?
I thought it kind of did have an extension system.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like, I think back in high school, there were certain things that we added, but I don't know.
Back in high school, we'd pass around all the cool extensions.
Yeah.
I don't know. Keller, are you an Internet Explorer user? Have you ever installed an extension in Internet Explorer?
Let's see. Last time I used Internet Explorer, 98?
Okay. All right. So
back then, you had the plugins, but I don't think it was actually extensibility to it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, and so this is going to be separate. You're still going to have IE 12, which, according to Mary Jo Foley over at All Things Microsoft and the ZDNet blog, she says that there's also, I don't know how she knows this. I mean, she says she's got two independent sources have confirmed this from within Microsoft. But there's also 2 different builds of Internet Explorer in-house right now at Microsoft competing with each other.
12 and 13 or what?
No, like two different like possible routes they might go for IE 12.
Oh.
And the best project will win.
Wow.
So Microsoft, I think, is getting serious about the whole losing internet market share.
Someone asked their grandparents if IE has extensions.
Yeah, I know. All right, moving right along then. It wouldn't be a Tech Talk Today without talking about some hacking these days. Seems to be the only news story that's really going between tech and regular news press, too. The FBI is looking into Lizard Squad, or at least a member of Lizard Squad. Now, let me back up. Now, so the FBI is going to investigate this, I don't know what we call them. I mean, some people call them a hacker collective, if that's what you want to call them. They claimed responsibility for the recent high-profile attacks against Microsoft and Sony. Not the Sony Entertainment hack, but attack on the Sony PlayStation Network and Microsoft Xbox Network. Now, a member of Lizard Squad who goes by the name of Ryan C., or Ryan, allegedly garnered the attention of special agents from the FBI after speaking with the media about Lizard Squad's Christmas Day attacks, and now they're on his trail. So I don't know where this is going to go. The story is sort of like, we hear this, we're reading this, the Daily Dot is reporting this, but it looks like the FBI may have figured out and identified somebody of the Lizard Squad, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start to, go after them and bust that up. What?
Oh, I am AGD said, oh my God, Angela read my comment on air.
And now she read the other one. Nice. All right. Okay. Anyways, the only reason why I mentioned this, because it's in itself a pretty light story. The reason why I want to talk about this today on Tech Talk is because here we are, December 30th, 2014, and what we are reporting today is that the FBI has an in on a member of Lizard Squad. I ran a story like this years ago on TechSnap about Anonymous, and then Anonymous totally fell apart and unraveled, or I guess it was LulzSec. Anyways, we've seen this happen before, where there's this one kind of sort of tangential story, like, oh yeah, they think they know a guy, and then you later on, after looking back at the entire picture, realize, oh, that was the moment they got in, that was the moment they flipped the guy, that was the moment they started to take the group apart, and so that's what I think this story represents. Just worth mentioning. Okay, so let's talk about it. You guys have all been waiting. It's the elephant in the room. The interview. So did you totally call this? I think you totally called this one, Ange. So Sony announced that the interview would be available in some independent theaters and also online.
Yeah.
Online, of course. Surprise, surprise. Just a few days before Christmas, everything just happens to line up. There weren't just anyways. Okay, so Sony announced that Sunday night that the interview was downloaded and rented more than 2 million times, generating $15 million in sales. Not bad, because the independent movie theaters got like 3 million in sales.
Yeah.
So 15 million online, 3 million in theaters. That's a pretty big difference. It's not a huge deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like some huge blockbuster.
Right.
But that in itself is a big deal.
Did you guys watch it in the Mumble Room?
No, not me.
Keller?
Wonder if it was any good.
I decided not to be a sheeple.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
I think I gotta watch it for the.
Well, that's fine. I understand why you
especially
need
for
to watch
Unfiltered.
it,
I feel like I need to watch it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I haven't been able to bring myself to do it yet either.
Yeah.
I've
I have no
it.
desire whatsoever.
After initially pulling the movie from theaters, Sony decided to release it online. So it premiered December 24th on YouTube, Google Play, Xbox Video, and Sony's own site, seetheinterview.com. There's what was it? The Root or something. Like there was one site that had it just up as an MP4 file that people were just downloading. On Sunday, Apple added it to iTunes.
Really?
It cost $14.99 to buy that thing.
Wow.
Or $5.99 to rent it. Now, here's what's interesting. Not too surprising, though, but a source familiar with the movie's online sales told Business Insider that the vast majority of rentals and downloads came from Google Play and YouTube. Mm-hmm. Not surprised. Also estimated to be downloaded 1.5 million times by pirates.
In the first 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. There you go. So there's is that the end of the story about the interview? Will this usher in a new era of simultaneous online and movie theater releases? I don't think so. I don't think really anything changes. Mm-mm. It was an interesting experiment, though.
Yeah.
And I think I guess kind of went okay, except for the whole piracy thing. Like that's going to be a real thorn in their side that they're not going to be happy with. But yeah. All right. And if you like the interview, well, that's fine. We don't judge. Enjoy it. It's a popcorn movie, I'm sure. All right, so it was Christmas since we last convened and talked tech. And Apple had a great Christmas. A lot of device manufacturers had a great Christmas, but in terms of gadgets activated over Christmas, Flurry, we've talked about them before. They do embedded analytics in applications, and they've published this last year, too. Well, they did their 2014 analysis of the type of devices consumers were exchanging for the holidays and with what types of apps they were filling them up with. Since the beginning, Flurry has been doing this every Christmas. Now they're at this point measuring 600,000 apps. That's where they're getting the data from.
Wow.
That's if you think about how many apps are in an app store, that's actually a pretty good amount. Apple accounted for 51% of new device activations worldwide. This is also beginning, they started noticing this in the week leading up to Christmas, the 19th to the 25th. Samsung held position number 2 with 18% of new device activations, and Microsoft Nokia devices rounded out the top 3 with 5.8% share of the mostly Lumina devices from Nokia. After the top 3 manufacturers, device market becomes more fragmented. Sony and LG get a little bit in there. Xiaomi and Huawei get a little bit in there, and of course, HTC has less than 1% share on Christmas. Now, one reason why Xiaomi and Huawei and HTC are getting lower percentages, and remember, they got like less than 1%, is because, Christmas isn't that popular in the Asian market where those devices are primarily sold.
Right.
But interesting nonetheless that I think going into most of 2014, everybody had decided that Apple was super boring and dead.
Yeah.
And then they say, hey, here's the iPhone 6 and here's the Apple Watch. Even though they didn't ship the Apple Watch, it changed the way people think. And the iPhone 6, to this day, I didn't even know this, but my dad was telling me over Christmas that, like, you still, for Verizon, you have to wait, like, weeks. Like, it's still supply constrained.
For a new phone?
For the iPhone 6 Plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still selling like crazy. That's how crazy they're selling. So I think that was a huge turnaround for them. And I think that reflects in the analytics you're seeing here. Samsung, though, still doing pretty good with 18%. That's nothing to sneeze at for sure. And, of course, the people who really win are all the app makers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last story of the week, I suspect.
Of the day.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I suspect. Yeah, I suspect this. Well, maybe of the week. To be honest, it's a holiday week. Who knows? Yeah, I'm sorry. Of the day. I'm used to doing weekly shows. This is just a story I wanted to put out there as sort of we'll look back at this at the end of 2015 and go, oh, that's quaint. That's quaint. So right now, 6 terabyte market hard drives are finally hitting the market at a price you can probably bear. And that's really exciting. 6 terabyte drive. 6 terabyte in one hard drive, guys. 6 terabytes.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And so there is a great roundup over at Hot Hardware if you're curious about this, and you can go read it. So, as you guys are probably aware, 4 terabytes was sort of the top end for most of 2014. There's different things out there. Like there's actually even 8 terabyte drives that are in development using shingled storage that we've talked about on TechSnap. But the roundup that I've linked in the show notes, it looks at 3 offerings in the market. The Western Digital Red, which would be the one I'd be looking at, 6 terabyte drive. The Western Digital Green, and the Seagate 6 terabyte enterprise class model. Oh, interesting. I'd be really curious to see I haven't read this, but I knew this would be fascinating. I'd be really curious to see how the Western Digital Red 6 terabyte stacked up against the Seagate 6 terabyte enterprise model. The Western Digital drives at this capacity right now, only 5,400 RPM drives. Seagate enterprise capacity does offer 7,200 RPM. Anywhere, though, if you look at all the range of prices they do in this roundup, you're looking at 4 cents to 7 cents per gigabyte now. You just cannot beat the price of that. I mean, yeah, SSD's got the speed, but 4 cents a gigabyte?
Wow.
Psh, what you got, SSD? What you got? Anyway, so it's a good roundup. And it might be just a nice end-of-year reading. What do you know, Andrews?
I don't know. That's just crazy to put it in the cents per gigabyte.
Right. Isn't that an interesting way to think about it?
I know terabytes are bigger than gigabytes, but I didn't know it was that much bigger.
Well, and think about, you and I were just recently looking at frickin' SSD storage. Mm-hmm. And we were, for some of the stuff we want to do, we're like, gosh, we probably need to start with like a terabyte. And you look at the cost of a terabyte SSD storage, and it could be, depending on what model, you can get anywhere from $800 to if you could be well over $1,000 if you're going to do a really high capacity, high enterprise style drive. And then you look at this, and there's 6 terabytes, $200.
Yep.
If you don't need the speed, there's still I don't think that'll change in 2015.
Yeah.
Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So join us tomorrow, Wednesday, for Tech Talk Today, episode 111. We'll go through the news. We'll chat with you guys, and you're always welcome to join us in the Mumble Room. If you'd like to contribute to the show in more of an offline, at-your-own-pace capacity, techtalktoday.reddit.com. Head on over to techtalktoday.reddit.com and submit a story, a comment, anything like that. Feedback is also really great. Yep. And last but not least, if you'd like to support this show or the Jupiter Broadcasting Network, we've got a way to make that possible. It's a great system. Patreon.com/today, and thank you to all 429 of you. And a lot of upgrades went in. I still have a couple of more videos I want to make about some more changes, but in fact, something's going to arrive tomorrow that I want to do a video about. I don't know if I'll get a chance tomorrow.
It's me.
Hey-oh.
Just kidding.
But I made some videos over the holiday break and posted them up for the patrons. And if you're a patron, is that the right vernac? Mm-hmm. You're a patron.
Patron.
If you're a patron, mm-hmm. Go over to patreon.com/today, go to the activity feed and watch it. You just get access to it. And if you become one tomorrow or today, you get access to all of the back catalog I've posted. Yep. So you can see all the previous stuff as well. And then there's a lot of stuff in there. And you also get the sense of knowing that you're keeping the Jupiter Broadcasting Network going and giving us a little runway for planning and budget predictability. And we have a lot of awesome things already in the works for 2015. Thanks to, in a big part, your funding over at patreon.com/today. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. And as we look towards the new year, I wanted to feature a few commercials that either celebrate the new year directly or make fun of it in some way, or in the sense are like the perfect New Year's video because they sort of recount something in technology, sort of give us a little background. So this first commercial, I was surprised to see it coming from AT&T, but if you followed voice and speech stuff from computers, like the developing like a good natural human-sounding computer speech, that's something AT&T's been working on for a really long time, and so that's where our commercial takes us today, to give us a little background on that. It's, it's a fluff commercial from AT&T,
Okay.
but it's a really interesting one. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. See you back here tomorrow, 9 a.m., noon Eastern, jblive.tv.
In 1935, AT&T researchers
Introduced the world to the electronic talking machine. Since that time, AT&T
has been at the forefront of this technology, continuing to make it more human-sounding.
So that when one has to interact with a computer,
it can be as pleasant as possible.
In 25 feet, turn left.
The passion to invent, the drive to deliver. The new AT&T, your world delivered.